Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with a very quick update for you for Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP today. Bitcoin broke out downward from this rectangle. There was a 33% chance it would break out down and a 66% chance it would break out up. It's broken out down, so I expect a little bit more downward movement to support at 55,000. I expect it to be likely to stop there. It might not get that low though. The last three candlesticks now have bullish long lower wicks, which suggests we might see an end to downward movement, at least for the short term here. The last completed downward session has some increase in volume. Now that could mean that there's more downward movement to go, or it could mean that's the end of downward movement, at least for the short term. Downward movement often ends with an increase in volume, but sometimes that's also in the middle. Overall, volume is declining still as price moves lower. And so I still don't expect that this is the start of a huge new bear market. At higher time frames, Bitcoin remains in a bull market. There is a reasonably strong bearish signal from on-balance volume and would suggest we're going to get more downward movement. So look for support at 55,000. ADX tells us there's a downward trend and it's not extreme. RSI is not oversold, but if it does reach oversold, I would expect downward movement to end. Money flow is not oversold. ATR still overall showing a decline as price moves lower. Overall, there's still a lack of strength in volume and range with this downward movement. It still looks like a counter trend movement within a larger bullish trend. My Elliott Wave count for Ethereum expects one more low to complete a double zigzag for a second wave correction. The first zigzag is labelled minuet W, the double is joined by a 3 in the opposite direction, and a second zigzag may have A, B possibly could be complete, and C to move lower. Minuet Y to move below the end of minuet W by a further reasonable margin in order to achieve overall a downward slope. Minute 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 below 1521.78. I will expect it to find support at the lower edge of this Elliott channel. The last session for Ethereum completes as a very strong bullish reversal pattern. This is a hammer occurring just above support at 2720. It has some push from volume as price moves lower, although overall volume is still declining as price moves lower. Downward movement, at least for the short term, can end with an increase in volume that happened here, or we could be seeing the middle of downward movement. We had an increase in volume here and yet another downward session. If we see an upward session for the 2nd of May, then I will expect downward movement for Ethereum to most likely be over, at least for the short term. There was a bearish signal for Ethereum. It was relatively weak. The follow through for that may now be resolved. ADX tells us there's a downward trend for Ethereum, which is a long way from extreme. RSI is neutral and it's got a little ways to go to oversold, but if it got to oversold, I'd expect downward movement to end. Money flow is also neutral. Overall, downward movement does not come with an increase in volume overall or an increase in range. It does look like a counter trend movement within a larger bullish trend still. The Elliott Wave count for XRP considers an intermediate degree double combination, could be over for intermediate wave 2. The first structure in the double is a zigzag labelled minor wave W. The double is joined by a 3 in the opposite direction labelled X, and the second structure labelled minor wave Y is a regular flat subdividing 3, 3, 5, and minor Y has ended about the same level as minor wave W. Overall, this is a sideways movement, and that's exactly what a double combination should look like. This wave count now expects a third wave up at intermediate and primary degree. The target at 29.01 is for primary 3 to reach 15.66, the length of primary 1. That's not a Fibonacci ratio. That's the ratio of primary wave 3 to 1 within cycle 1. So if we see a similar length for this primary degree third wave, then that would be a reasonable target. So I just wanted to have an idea of what's possible. Considering primary 3 may last 3 years, it would end in June next year. Very quickly, technicals for XRP developing some bullish long lower wicks at support at 0.49. This isn't a hammer pattern though. The wick is not long enough. Overall, volume is declining. Overall, as price is moving sideways and slightly lower. XRP also has a downward trend, which is a long way from extreme. RSI reached oversold recently though for XRP, 12th of April. I would expect it's very likely that that low may remain intact because RSI doesn't tend to reach oversold very often at the daily time frame, and when it does, it's usually associated with sustained lows. Money flow is neutral, and overall range with overall volume decline as price moves for the short term lower. That's it from me with a quick update for you today. I hope everyone's having a lovely day.